Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is me Muhammad Asif and you are watching my YouTube channel Asif ZBMLT videos. Dear viewers, today I am going to discuss that what is the difference between endotoxin and exotoxin. But before discussing endotoxin and exotoxin, we should know that what is meant by a virulence factor. Virulence factor is basically those factors which determine the specificity of an organism to cause a disease, a particular disease. And virulence factors are basically different factors which an organism do have and which can enhance their pathogenicity. For example, capsulated bacteria and those bacteria which do not have capsule. So capsulated bacteria have increased pathogenicity as compared to those bacteria which do not have a capsule. So this is basically a virulence factor. Other factor, for example, those bacteria which have flagella or those bacteria which have a specific protein, for example A protein or M proteins, so it can also enhance their pathogenicity. So these are basically virulence factor. Similarly, toxins are basically a virulence factors of a bacteria on the basis of which they can enhance their diseases. So there are two types of toxins, that is endotoxin and exotoxin, and there is a big difference between these two terminologies. Exotoxins are those toxins which is produced by both gram positive and gram negative bacteria. According to certain books, that exotoxins are only produced by gram positive bacteria, but certain gram negative bacteria also have the capability to produce exotoxin. On the other hand, endotoxins are only synthesized by the gram negative bacteria. Exotoxin are secreted from the cell, that's why it is known as exotoxin, while endotoxin are the internal part of an organism. Endotoxin are the internal part of an organism, that's why it is known as endotoxin. Exotoxin are polypeptide in nature, means they are protein in nature, while endotoxins are lipopolysaccharides. According to immunological point of view, those substances which are protein in nature, they have high antigenicity, means the immune system can efficiently recognize it, while those substances which are non-protein in nature, for example lipids or carbohydrates or lipoproteins, their antigenicity is decreased as compared to protein in nature's antigens. Therefore, exotoxins can efficiently activate the immune system and antibodies will be efficiently produced by the immune system. Therefore, the titer of antibodies against exotoxin will be high as compared to endotoxin. On the basis of these factors, vaccines are produced against exotoxins where there is no availability of vaccine against endotoxins. For example, a bacteria which is known as Clostridium tetani, which produce a toxin which is known as tetanoplasmin, and vaccines are produced against this tetanoplasmin, which is known as toxoid vaccines. Similarly, Clostridium botulinum, similarly diphtheria, these produce exotoxins and vaccines are available against these bacteria, while there is no availability of vaccine against endotoxin bacteria. Another difference is that endotoxins are basically heat stable substances, while exotoxins are not as much stable as compared to endotoxin. For example, exotoxins, when we heat it at 60 degrees centigrade, it will be destroyed, while at 100 degrees centigrade, endotoxin will remain stable for 1 hour. So endotoxin are stable where exotoxin are non-stable. This is basically another difference. Now we will talk about the clinical effect of endotoxin and exotoxin. Endotoxin help in the stimulation and release of tumor necrosis factor and interleukin 1. Interleukin 1 enhance the temperature of an individual, while tumor necrosis factor is an chemo attracting factor, means that chemotactic factor, which attract neutrophil, lymphocyte, monocyte towards the site of infection. So those substances which basically attract these lymphocyte, they are known as chemotactic factor. So tumor necrosis factor is a chemotactic factor. Another property of tumor necrosis factor is that it enhances the permeability of capillaries, and when the permeability of capillaries are increases, so fluid will move from the intravascular space to extravascular space, which leads to hypotension. And when hypotension occurs, the pressure or blood pressure of individual decrease, which leads to shock. So endotoxin usually produce shocks, and ultimately death of the patient may occur if it is in increased amount. Means that if endotoxin are released in an increased amount, it can lead to fatal complication, that is known as death of the patient. So hope so that you would like my video. Like if you like. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.